We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Friday, April 11th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin, and welcome to the 555th episode of News Generation. Joining us today is Iwon-bin.
Good morning, good to be back.
Great to have you back. And Brooke Prince.
Hello, what an honor.
Happy 555. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. Every Friday means it's time to cap the week with topics that resonate with young people around the world. Now, when you hear the words Korean music, what pops into your mind? And chances are high that it's K-pop. But recently, another genre has been making its way into the global spotlight, a sound steeped in tradition. And today we're talking about Kugak, or traditional Korean music. So starting off, Wonbin, what exactly is Kugak, and would you say that you're a fan of this music?
Well, Kugak is a name of the traditional Korean music and dance, and it's a very broad term that includes everything from court music performed in palaces to more refined pieces enjoyed by the aristocrats and the bourgeoisies during the Joseon dynasty, and even folk genres like pansori, which were beloved by ordinary people. And I would say in terms of Kugak, the most globally recognized example would be Arirang, which is the name of our news, yes, which was listed as UNESCO World Heritage in 2012. Kugak is also known for its wide range of instruments. There are about 60 in total, such as the komungo, kayagum, and haegum, which are all string instruments, and traditional drums like 장구 and 북. As for the dance, there's a variety as well, including the 부채춤, which is a dance people do with a fan. It's an Asian fan that has a triangular shape, and 건무, which is a sword dance, and 승무 as well, which is a special dance that people wear long sleeves while they do. And personally, I find Kugak really fascinating because, and I wish people get the chance to listen to them in person instead of video, because I think all live musics are, but especially for Kugak, it's very difficult for the mic or the YouTube video to capture the raw sound that comes from the traditional materials that the instruments are built with, and it's a completely different beauty from the Western instruments in the music. So I would say that it has a really, really different, unique charm compared to the modern, more common pop musics that we enjoy too.
I think you explained Kugak really, really well.
Thank you.
So Wonbin helped us put Kugak into perspective. Now I also want to ask your take on Kugak, Brooke, because you are, of course, a musical actress, and I heard that you did a musical related to Kugak very recently, right?
Yes, that's right, and I think Wonbin really explained it well. It's such an amazing thing to hear in person. There's a particular magic to it. I want to talk about two Kugak in particular that I really enjoy. One is kayagum, which we saw in the footage earlier. It's a traditional string instrument, and you can tell when you watch people play this instrument how many years it must have taken to master that instrument.
Look at the hand movement.
Yes, it's just beautiful. And the other one I want to mention is pansori, of course, because I'm a singer. I love pansori. Pan is a word that means a place to gather or meet, and sori is actually my favorite word in Korean. It means sound. So put together, this is a magical musical storytelling, and it is one of Korea's national intangible cultural heritage. So I first encountered pansori when I went on a field trip with my Korean Language Institute class, and I remember the audience participation was just so infectious. They would shout things like 잘한다, which means like good job or well done. And even though I didn't know Korean well at the time, I started to join in. It was just so energetic and lively, dynamic, such a great performance. And so again, as you mentioned, I've been in a musical before, and our musical Il Tenore was actually held at the Seoul Arts Center with a completely live orchestra. As you're looking on the screen, you can see that this is another example of live music. And the Seoul Arts Center has these state-of-the-art facilities that really bring the beauty of those instruments to life. They don't only do musicals, they also put on many different Korean traditional music concerts and performances. So I would highly recommend checking out the Seoul Arts Center. It's actually right across the street from us. And when you're done, maybe you can pop over to the National Kugak Center right next door, and you can learn a little bit more about the rich cultural heritage of Kugak, or traditional traditional Korean music.
Definitely. So we also asked our viewers if they have listened to Kugak and are they curious to hear more. We're going to take a look at 3 comments. Our first comment for this Friday is by Linda Scott 6404. I enjoy the richness and the tones of Kugak instruments and voices. It helps me understand Korean history and culture. Sunshine Desert IV73. I first heard Kugak when Korea ran an advertisement campaign called Feel the Rhythm of Korea. The group is Inarchi with a unique sound, which I just enjoy listening to. Roddy Russell Jr. 93 says, as a drummer and percussionist, I was immediately attracted to Samulnori. I would love to join a group one day. Well, thank you for all those comments. So now we're going to zoom in on Kugak's growing popularity here in Korea first, and then talk about its growing appeal. Now, not long ago, this genre of Kugak was considered quite outdated here in Korea as well, but now it seems that that's not the case. So Wonbin, do we have any numbers or stats that really show how much young people are starting to embrace Kugak?
Yes, absolutely. Recently, the ticket power of MZ generation has been driving the ticket sales of traditional art performances like, excuse me, Kugak, Changguk, which is a Korean play, and Hangukmuyong as well, which is a traditional Korean dance. And at the National Theater, MZ audiences have been filling the seats for nearly every performances.
Wow.
For shows like Ejuga and Mongyu Donmu, nearly half of the tickets were purchased by the MZ generations. And for some performances, as much as 70 or 80% of the audience came from this demographic. Now, to get a better understanding, let's take a look at the stats. We're looking at the stats from the National Theater of Korea, and for our viewers, it is located near Yaksu Station. This stat shows the tickets sold to the MZ generations for each performance. Starting from the left, 44% of the tickets were sold to the MZ generation for the Korean traditional music performance Ejuga, 39% for the National Dance Company of Korea's performance, and 77% for another Korean traditional music performance. And as you can see, it is shown that that a noticeable amount, if not the majority of the amount, are sold by MZ generations. And I think I always say this every time I read the stats, but it is a very surprising data.
Right, we can definitely see the ticket power of millennials and Gen Zs of Kugak by looking at the stats that Wonbin just introduced us. And Brooke, I even heard that some Kugak artists are now enjoying the fame and popularity almost similar to K-pop artists, right?
That's exactly right. With Kugak gaining traction amongst the MZ generation, the National Changguk Company of Korea now boasts a fan base similar to that of K-pop idols. They even have audience members that are called revolving door fans, which means that they come to see the show again and again. And during the musical, I actually experienced this. So it was a triple cast, and I would talk to some fans, and they would really love one particular actor. And so during a run, they might have 20 or more performances, and these fans would come to every single one of their favorite actors' performances. They would help set up coffee trucks outside and gifts and merchandise for the cast. Just a level of devotion that was amazing to see. And now we're seeing that extend to traditional Korean music artists as well, particularly artists like Kim Junsu and Kim Suin. They've had a lot of breakout success in the industry. They have fan clubs, they have fan sites where these very high-end pictures are taken with DSLR cameras. It's a lot like the K-pop idol fan base. And I think it's really interesting to see these generations get so excited about traditional Korean music because, like I said earlier, the mastery that it takes. These artists are so talented, and I think they're very deserving of the love and adoration that they're getting.
They're finally getting the appreciation that they really deserve.
Exactly.
All right, so to dive deeper into this traditional music, Kugak making a comeback here in Korea, we're first going to invite a professor from Germany who teaches Kugak here in the country. Stay tuned.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
For our live interview segment today, we're thrilled to welcome Anna Yates-Liu, Associate Professor of Korean Music at Seoul National University. Welcome to the show, Professor.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So, Professor, we first want to ask you, have you actually noticed a rise in interest in Kugak among young people lately? For example, your students and etc.
I mean, my students are already people who are interested in Korean music, so I wouldn't say that that's the best demographic to look at. But I would say noticeably, you were mentioning earlier, particularly the National Kangak Company. If you go back just a couple of years, you could always get tickets for concerts there, and I often took my students. But now within the last year or so, basically, if you don't plan to go to a concert a month, 2 months in advance, you will not get tickets anymore because it is sold out. And it is really particularly through, you mentioned this younger demographic coming in as particularly that company is doing more experimental stuff, engaging, for example, with webtoons and so on. That really seems to be hitting off with the younger demographic in particular. So it does seem like there is this noticeable broadening of Kugak fandom. Yes.
I see. Well, it's very interesting to hear that there was a noticeable change recently in the Kugak realm. And as someone who's been around the block in terms of Kugak, what do you think is sparking this new wave of interest?
So I think I saw in the comment that Inaichi band was mentioned. I think definitely since they went viral in 2020, that was a sort of a first moment where I think a new generation realized that, oh, Kugak isn't necessarily just old and boring. You can actually do lots of really interesting things with it. And that really opened up the pathway. You start to see more idols collaborating, making use of Kugak elements in their music. And at the same time, you're seeing in these institutions that are showing Kugak performances, they're also getting more experimental with their content. And this is a long development that has been happening to get us to this point. But we're starting to see the fruits of that's really opening up the interest, really engaging with these young audiences, lots of social media presence, which I think is perhaps also a big driving factor in this interest now.
So we here at NewsGen and the viewers as well are all very curious about your journey. Can you tell us more about that? What inspired you to explore Kugak and eventually come to Korea to teach it?
Well, I mean, so I should say I teach ethnomusicology, but I'm located in the Department of Korean Music. So I'm not actually actively teaching pansori, but I do perform it and research it as part of my research activities. So I used to be studying Korean cultural policy for my master's, but mainly because actually my points were not quite enough during my classes. I took a class on traditional East Asian music, and that's where I encountered pansori. There was then a concert that was taking place at the Korean Cultural Center in London, and I said, wow, what is this? So as I was saying before, the live experience really just make such a difference to me. I was like, what is this? How does this work? I'm just so curious that, the short time that I had there wasn't enough to solve all my curiosity. I ended up switching majors, doing a PhD in ethnomusicology, researching pansori. And as part of that, then I spent a year doing field work here in Korea from 2014 to 2015, learning, performing pansori, pinging back and forth. And now since 2020, I've been lucky enough to get this position here at SNU. So I've been doing my best to teach and engage and continue to learn and perform as well.
Very inspiring. All right, Professor, thank you so much for your time today and sharing your story. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.
So we're going to now broaden our discussion and talk about Kugak's growing global appeal. So besides what Professor mentioned, what else do you think is sparking the curiosity toward Kugak?
I think one big reason is that more young people in Korea now feel that the most Korean things can also be the most global. And as K-pop spreads around the world, many are looking back to its roots of K-pop, like pansori and other Kugak traditional musics. And furthermore, traditional arts and music have been shown in a much more refined, modern, sophisticated way through the media. To give some examples and illustrations, shows like 풍류대장, a singing competition for Kugak performers and artists, and the drama 정연이, which is about women's Kugak, which is a form of a play, and stage 힙'이죠 as well, a dance competition. They really caught the attention of the MZ generation. So I do think Kugak has a lot of potential to join the Korean wave. And when tradition is combined with a modern style and great storytelling and media exposure, it can really attract global audiences as well. And Kugak could even lead the next chapter of K-culture as well.
So we'll have to see. Brooke, I also would like to ask you, do you think Kugak also has the potential to ride the Korean wave and even lead the next wave of K-culture?
I do, and I think the reason why it can become so popular can be illustrated by something from my own background. When I was younger, I hated anything that was on the radio. It was too mainstream for me. I was really into this type of music called screamo, a mix of screaming and emo, and it had this cult following full of people just like me that wanted something a little bit different. And so I think that's what we're seeing with Korean traditional music and young people. They want something that's a little off the beaten path.
Right.
K-pop is wonderful, of course, but it is very commercialized. And Kugak is a little more under the radar, so it kind of feels like something that you can keep to yourself. In
And
fact,
discover more.
exactly. The National Kugak Center says that people in their 20s and 30s, they consider Kugak to be this hidden gem. It's like this little cool thing that's very special and something that they can enjoy. And they even will go to these performances by themselves, just sort of as an act of personal self-expression. And so I think that's one of the reasons why it's becoming so popular. And it's also because it's innovative. Like our guest mentioned, they're really incorporating new modern twists. They are turning pansori into ballads and rock versions with drums and guitar. And so I think those things are also bringing in the younger generation. And it's really fun to see that happening all over again, that they are discovering this something that feels special, and Kugak is that special thing for them.
And it's becoming more accessible at
That's
the
right.
same time. And as we're talking about hidden gems, I think it's kind of our instinct. When we find hidden gems, we want to discover it more.
That's right.
And I think that for our viewers who are tuning in right now, I think they would have become more interested in experiencing Kugak after listening to our discussion today. So ending off, where should they start? Do you have any recommendations on must-visit spots or must-see performances of Kugak?
I'm really glad that you asked that question because I got the perfect recommendation for you guys and our lovely viewers. So this fall, the exact date is September 11th, a big Kugak Expo opens at Yeongdong, which is a city located in the center of Korea. And the expo is called in Korean Yeongdong Kugak Expo, and the English full name is the Yeongdong World Traditional Music and Arts Expo. And you can enjoy and experience all kinds of Kugak that we mentioned throughout our show today. And you guys can consider it as like an all-in-one package for Kugak. Yeah. And the best part is, as a savvy consumer, they offer an early bird discount if you book the tickets before the opening date. The price is 5,000 Korean won for adults,
very
which
reasonable.
is less than $4, so it's very
amazing.
affordable. And if you're taking kids, it's even cheaper for students and children and babies. So if you guys are planning to experience Kugak in Korea or try it, Yeongdong Kugak Expo should be on your calendar.
Yeongdong Kugak Expo, mark that on your calendar, September 11th. Now, what do you suggest, Brooke?
Yes, if you want to visit Korea, there are many ways that you can experience Kugak. It's also a beautiful time to visit Korea right now. It's spring, cherry blossoms, but of course, traditional Korean music, you can experience it any time. It's always amazing. The National Kugak Center in Seoul offers regular performances. They have a Saturday Kugak concert, and you can also experience some hands-on programs, so you can try out those traditional instruments for yourself. You can also catch live Kugak at royal palaces like Gyeongbokgung and Cheongdeokgung, which is amazing because you can experience that history and those beautiful backdrops as you're listening to the music. If you're looking for something, maybe a bigger stage, you can go to the Jeonju International Sori Festival, which brings together performers from around the world to perform things like pansori and Kugak, and also those genre blending collaborations that we've been talking about. So whether it's a theater or a palace or a festival stage, I think we're going to see Kugak continue to get more and more spotlight, and it will keep drawing in in younger generations. I'm excited to see it.
Me too, absolutely. And if you have anything more you'd like to know or explore about Kugak, please leave a comment below on today's episode. And that's all we have for today and this week's News Gen, but we'll be back next Monday at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks to Iwon Bin.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you. And Brooke Prince.
Happy 555!
Happy 555. And to our viewers, thank you for tuning in. And we'll be waiting for you here, same time, next Monday morning. We are
News Generation.